I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, and it has been a long time coming. I'm going to be discussing No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy, which is one of the greatest novels I've ever read, and it's my sincere hope that by watching this video, you're inspired to read it, because it truly gave me one of the best reading experiences I've ever had. I distinctly remember finishing this novel one night in college. I was sitting in an armchair in a library and read this thing for 3.5 hours straight to finish it. I was supposed to be writing an essay, and that ended up needing to be written the following morning. No Country for Old Men is one of those really, really rare novels that's able to tap into human history in sort of a biblical, spooky, Old Testament sort of way, tie that to our modern times. It's a Western, but it's not a period piece. It's about modern history. It's about the 21st century, the inevitability of violence, and what sorts of things can and will drag a person away from their family, especially in America. This novel is set on the Texas-Mexico border, like a lot of Cormac McCarthy's Westerns are. And the inciting incident, the thing that kicks off the whole novel, is the main character finds a bunch of money along with a lot of dead bodies. Clearly some sort of deal has gone wrong. And that occurs within the first few pages. I will not be giving away anything that happens in the middle or towards the end of the novel, because I want you to experience that for yourself. This is one of those stories that if it hasn't been spoiled for you yet, please, I'm begging you, do your best to put blinders on, just pick up the story and read it. After you've finished the novel, there's the film adaptation to look forward to, which won Best Picture and is incredible all around. No matter which way you look at it, that is an excellent piece of art too. It's possible to just read this novel for entertainment because the plot is really well constructed. There's some great twists along the way. I'm not even going to hint at what those are. And the inciting incident provides a really, really powerful hook beyond what you might typically find in a work of literature that has this much magnitude to it. Someone finds a lot of money. We can all imagine what it would be like to find a life-changing amount of money just sitting right there. But what comes along with that cash is very apparent, even when the main character, Llewellyn Moss, finds it. He knows that if he takes that money, he is going to be followed. No one gives up on $2 million easily. But there's another layer beyond that plot that isn't as readily apparent in the film adaptation. Certainly it's incorporated, but one of the characters is an older cop. He was a police officer all of his life, and he is in these italicized sections between the main chapters of the novel, sort of reflecting on life. And that might seem like it's a little bit of a cheap trick in terms of craft to be able to embed such wisdom and sort of out of the narrative thoughts in at key points along the way in the novel, but it works extremely well. Like most of his novels, the relief in the story is mostly to be found in the dialogue. There are a lot of great quips, there are a lot of lighter moments, but also there are some very, very intriguing philosophical conversations that occur. I'll point out one that happens towards the beginning of the novel. It's an exchange between the person who is the antagonist in the story, someone who is going after the main character, Llewellyn Moss, because of the lost money, and someone who works at this gas station, this convenience store, essentially in the middle of nowhere in Texas. And what they end up discussing is fate and death and sort of the randomness of life itself. That conversation alone, if you just put that on a page as a short story, would be one of the best short stories ever written. But when it comes down to it, this novel, at its core, at its very base layer, it's about human nature, specifically the nature of men. Because Cormac McCarthy avoided writing about women in large part. He didn't have a central female character in one of his stories until he wrote The Passenger and Stella Maris. This might be the only time I ever give a disclaimer about a novel based on the writer's personal life, but I must say that we now know that Cormac McCarthy had a relationship, a sexual relationship, with someone who, at the time when they first started to be together, was underage. This was revealed in a lengthy article that came along with a photo shoot within the past year after Cormac McCarthy died. And now that we know what we know about his personal life, it is extremely clear that one of the characters in No Country for Old Men, who is cut out of the film adaptation, by the way, is flatly, simply based on this woman in real life who Cormac McCarthy started a relationship with. I don't think that art created by artists who, in their personal lives, did some despicable things should just be thrown away. But I do believe that the character of an artist is important, and that you should know a little something about the person whose work you're reading or whose art you're studying. I've spent more time reading Cormac McCarthy's novels than I've spent reading any other writer's writing, and there was always sort of this impenetrable layer to his writing, especially when it came to some of the female characters that I wasn't quite able to pin down. And so when the article I'm referencing here came out, it just clicked. It made sense. I knew it was true. And that was kind of devastating, if I may speak personally, because I did make the mistake of looking up to Cormac McCarthy more than I've looked up to any other artist. So it was a big letdown, but it was a reminder that everyone who makes anything, they're just a person. They're flawed. In a Cormac McCarthy novel, you are going to be confronting some of the most despicable characters you've ever come across in your life. That's true in No Country for Old Men. That's true in Blood Meridian. That's especially true in Child of God. The main reason you should read Cormac McCarthy's work is that there is great depth, great intensity, and he's going to look unflinchingly at some of the most gnarly and frankly evil aspects of humanity and what it can mean to be a person, what it can mean to be a man. As always in his work, there is great beauty juxtaposed with the deep darkness of the subject matter, and you would be hard-pressed to find something crafted this exquisitely and with this much care. No Country for Old Men and The Road are, I believe, the best places for you to start if you're new to Cormac McCarthy. And I really do hope that you pick up this novel. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And I hope that it is sort of a gateway into the rest of his work. Though I consider No Country for Old Men to be a much more balanced work than Blood Meridian is, and much more accessible, I do think that for people who enjoy wrestling with intense themes and really getting into kind of a denser work, that Blood Meridian is still sort of the apex, the epitome of what you can find, not just in sort of the American West, but in the entire Western canon. I hope this video finds you well. I hope you're in a good reading groove. If not, you've got a good book to turn to. Take it easy, happy reading, and I'll see you in the next one.